Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the new trade-in event, and I'm going to give you PQ's top 10 ships out of this event. There's actually a lot of great options here for you to trade your existing premiums that maybe you don't play for a new ship. I think this is a really good event, player friendly, and I'm very happy to see Wargaming return with this one and bringing ships that people would actually want. So, top 10, I will start with the cheaper ones, then we'll work our way up to the more expensive ones. First, Okhotnik. If you haven't tried this ship yet, just a ridiculous number of guns on a very long reload. Kind of the war canoe or whatever. It's a fun little meme destroyer at tier 5. Not that many games are played down there, but look at all these single cannons. It's so funny. You get a bunch of close range torpedoes as well for some YOLO plays, 4.5 kilometers. It's really fun if you can get yourself a tier 5 game. Notably, a lot of tier 5 games, you get pulled up into tier 6 games, which are often double sub, double carrier, which is not the most fun these days. But if you're looking for a fun low tier ship to play, 3,500 doubloons, there are plenty of ships that you can trade in for that one. Up next, we'll stay at low tier with the Agincourt. I apologize for pronunciation as always, but this ship is a bit like Schlieffen at tier 5. In fact, the secondary DPM here is absolutely wild. If we go up to 10 kilometers, which is usually the reference that I'm using, not that this ship will get there, that's 59,000 hitting DPM. That's like Schlieffen levels, except for at tier 5. Notably, you have to give an insane amount of broadside, 70 degrees to actually hit that. There's very little forward and backwards. But Agincourt is pretty fun. Again, if you can get that tier 5 game. It's slightly elusive, though. It's usually going to be tier 6s, tier 7s, and like mentioned, carrier sub. So you're not always going to get the most out of this one. But I do think this is a fun secondary brawler that we've seen in the past, not particularly often. I do think is it in the rotation now? I'm not actually sure. But it was like loot box only way back in the day. So really cool to see it more readily available here. And yes, just double checking, it is in the ship rotation. So if you did miss it in this trade-in, it is still going to be over there. Now I know we're going to be skipping over some ships that are pretty interesting now. Murmansk getting a heal these days, De Grasse as well. No reload booster, but you do get better base DPM than Le Glacier. Things like that are interesting, but we're going to move up to tier 7 now. West Virginia 44, the ship is absolutely crazy. Secondary brawler. Think of this as the tier 7 extension of the American pseudo secondary battleship line that are all premiums. You would start at tier 7 with West Virginia 44, then at tier 8 Massachusetts, tier 9 you'd get the Georgia, tier 10 Ohio, of course. Fast cooldown heal on all of them, the same improved accuracy on the secondaries. The ship is very good. It's a little slow. The armor is not the best, shall we say. 26 gets overmatched a lot at this tier, though you do have some nice side plating here that can bounce some shells. It is a very good brawler, even though it is only 21 knots. So getting into range is a little bit of a challenge there. But these secondaries are very strong, as is the healing. Definitely on my short list for ships that I would want to get if I was starting over. The tier 7 premiums are very good these days. And I think West Virginia 44 is one of the better ones. Also incredibly powerful, though, is Weimar. This ship is a miniature Mainz. It might even be a little bit better than Mainz in some ways. Now that we're down at tier 7, this ship still gets the same guns, 150mm main guns. You get 12 of them at tier 7. The same incredible armor piercing. The HE is a little anemic, but with the reload, it's not so bad. 8-second reload, though, instead of a 6-second reload. So Mainz DPM certainly a lot higher. Remember, we're at tier 7 here. This ship is very powerful. It's a lot smaller, more maneuverable. It has access to an engine boost, and yes, 14 kilometers range is pretty low, but you do also get access to a spotter plane. So it's not that bad. I would call this one actually better, more easy to use than Mainz. Mainz can feel a little bit clumsy at times, and the heals help it out a lot with that problem, but this one doesn't have that issue. Much better maneuverability, better matchmaker as well, though not quite as extreme on the DPM. Weimar is a great option, as is getting into a tier 7 destroyer, Leningrad. This one, back in the day, I played this one a lot for tier 7 ranked modes. The gunpowder has always been incredible on a ship like Leningrad, of course. Great shell arcs, great damage out of these guns here. The concealment's not the best, but you're very, very fast, notably, to get around the map, do some speed juking, that kind of thing. But the torps are actually very, very solid here. Big damage for the tier. Decent range. 8 kilometers is definitely usable at this tier. Now, Minsk has seen some buffs. That's the tech tree variant. It has 7-kilometer torps now. No longer has to deal with the 4-kilometer torpedoes. We also see that it has access to a heal, where Leningrad does not. But Leningrad gets the smokes, the engine boosts, and a torpedo reload booster. So in your back pocket, you're one of the better torp boats of your tier, alongside just being one of the best gunboats. Different playstyle than the main line, and that's why I'm interested in a ship like this one, looking for unique experiences, of course. So if you're interested in having some of that solid torp power with your Soviet gunboats, Leningrad is a great option. But moving on to maybe a ship that is just incredibly powerful now with the heal buff, Indianapolis. This ship has just the full power of a New Orleans at tier 7, but you get a 10-kilometer radar at tier 7, like the only one with a 10-kilometer radar here. Now it gets a heal. You still get access to these very good American AP shells. The HE DPM isn't bad here either. Firing angles are pretty solid. The downside being your HP pool is a little bit lower than the New Orleans. Your concealment is a little bit worse as well, but concealment build, you get pretty close to that 10-kilometer radar range with your detect. This is an incredible utility ship now at tier 7. Very powerful main guns, and let's be honest, nobody's expecting a 10-kilometer radar in a tier 7 game. So incredibly powerful to have that. And now with 2 heals base, getting up to 3 heals, this HP disadvantage isn't as big a deal. You do get some 25 mil plating these days, so if you run into any ships with less than 380 millimeter main guns on their battleships, so 356s, you sometimes will at tier 7 still. Not quite like Battleship Pensacola, but sometimes you can afford to tank a lot with a ship like this one. Though you have to be more careful about doing that at tier 7. Amazing cruiser, well worth looking into. A lot of the cruisers at mid-tier suddenly became a lot more interesting to me this update. And now that we get a trade-in right afterwards, that's just so cool. Surprisingly, I am not going to recommend Sharnhorse. I think Sharn 43 is just more fun, and that one's available for coal. So may as well just get that one, honestly. And if you want a secondary brawler out of this pack, just go West Virginia 44. I think it's more unique as well. We're going on to Atlanta. If you haven't gotten Atlanta, if you've never played in Atlanta, it is the high DPM light cruiser experience at mid-tier. You want to play Colbert like John the Ruthless? Well, too bad. Nobody's as good as John the Ruthless. I can't do it myself either, okay? But I can play Atlanta at mid-tier because it's just so much easier when you're not dealing with tier 10 meta with that sort of playstyle. Now Atlanta has healing, makes it so much easier to play as well. This ship has a bit of that light cruiser. It's so small. Go broadside, only take overpens. Yes, does have an exposed citadel. You got to be careful of that still. You still can get dev struck, but it's a little more forgiving, this one, okay? Much more forgiving matchmaker. It's quite small. It still has some radar capabilities. It's not the 10-kilometer radar that we saw on the Indianapolis, but an 8.5-kilometer radar is still quite good, especially alongside this immense DPM. You get some close-range torps to deal with some people trying to rush you around islands, that sort of thing. And with the concealment here being pretty good, the range isn't amazing, but your shell arcs are very hard to use at that range. So I don't need more range here. The detect here is helping you to play at those closer ranges, which you're going to need to do. But Atlanta is one of the most fun ships in the game, just pure DACA DPM. Has been since really it was introduced years ago at this point, nearly a decade ago, something like that. And it's still really fun. Much, much better now with the heals too. Just for pure fun playstyle. I mean, Atlanta... Okay, I'll stop talking about it, but Atlanta would be on the short list. Mainz, of course, we've taken a look at this one right away after the heal buff. Needs no introduction. Ridiculous, like tier 10 levels of DPM. Tier 9, certainly. The AP DPM here, well over 400,000 AP DPM. The HE, a little bit low on the alpha damage, but You still get like 200k HE Not quite Cleveland levels, but you get 38 mil pen. You don't have to take IFHE to actually full pen battleships. Very, very nice to have there. Close range torps for YOLO plays. You don't have really the armor to do so. You get overmatched a lot. 27 mil deck armor can be useful against those 3D battleships, but a lot of 406s and above at tier 8 already, so not as good. The problems with this one are going to be its conceal as well as its general lack of maneuverability. It's a little bit clumsy at times, but now that it's got a heal, it can certainly make up for that. These guns are just absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen the video, took a look at it recently, like last week or a couple weeks ago, with the new heal buff. The ship is absolutely insane now. And you have a chance to get it through the trade-in event. You don't even have to spend full price for it. Sure, it's available. You know, it's nice to see ships like this available in just the ship rotation, normal doubloon ships. But if you got some ships that you haven't been playing premiums, you can trade them for some very good ships that recently got buffed, including Mainz. Now moving on, there's a few ships that are interesting, but to keep it to 10, I tried to limit myself here. We're not taking a look at Brandenburg. It's just not good enough. Vanguard, Atago, not unique enough anymore. A lot of ships just have heals now at tier 8 cruisers. So I love me some Atago, but I don't think I would be that interested in getting it. What I would be interested though is Minegumo. If you absolutely love close range torp boat playstyle, Minegumo is the ship for you, okay? Especially if you struggle with using close-range torpedoes, wanting to use those incredible F3 torps that you get on high-tier Japanese torp boats, and then you run into a billion radars, you get the carrier game that just permanently hovers over you, spotting you. You feel like you're locked out of battles. Minegumo is for you. I love this ship because I, too, struggle with those feelings of just getting locked out of battles when I play some of those F3 torp boats. This ship gets access to 15 kilometers. Yes, they're super slow. They're not great. They're not that useful, but you can swap over to a torpedo that you can use in basically any matchmaker. You can use it into full up tiers into super ships and a ton of radars and carriers. 15 kilometers range allows you to still use your torpedoes. They're not amazing, but they still do great damage. Just very, very slow. But then you get access to F3s that are even more limited in range, 6.5 kilometers. So you got to get very, very close to use these, but they're still F3s. They're this insane speed, high alpha damage torpedoes that you know from those higher tier ones. And you're not limited by having only F3s. And I love that on this ship. Great detect on this one as well. It's tier 9 matchmaker too. So yeah, you get up tiered into super ships a lot these days, but still the ship can play into that. Low HP, it's squishy. You already know that about playing Japanese torp boats, okay? You probably know what you're getting into, but just the flexibility that these torpedoes bring means this one is very, very interesting to me. I think we'll skip over a lot of these battleships. It is unique to get something like Verity with these SAP secondaries, but I just don't think that it's very good at all, so I would not recommend you get it. Karl Johann torpedo battleship, well, guess what? The European battleships are in, and they bring a radar alongside having that torpedo power as well. So probably not the most interesting. What is interesting, though, as my 10th ship, of course, I had to get Incheon in here. This ship is kind of just insane. It's a smoke Des Moines, basically, except you get the improved accuracy that you see on Tulsa. So this is destroyer dispersion Des Moines shells here. You don't quite have Des Moines DPM, but it's very, very close. You also get access to some deep water torpedoes with a torpedo reload booster. You don't get the radar utility, but just from a pure gun power playstyle, if you find yourself playing Des Moines and thinking to yourself, wow, I am dying very quickly because my ship has no armor in today's day and age, all the 457 battleship overmatch, the ship is struggling to get into range a lot of the time, you know, sub 16 kilometer range. Well, this one gets a little more range. It does not have the armor. We don't actually get the 27 on the bow, but we still get 30 upper belt and deck armor. So you're still getting overmatched. But you get the smokes, okay? You get these really good Pan-Asian smokes. They recharge quickly. There's little downtime between them. And that makes this a very, very interesting pure damage dealing cruiser. You lose the utility of Des Moines, but I think that's okay. I think that's okay. This is a much more comfortable ship to play. And if you're going for AP shots into citadels, that accuracy, I won't lie, is very nice. Alongside having some of the best firing angles in the game, like 25-degree forward and backward firing angles with this ship. Very comfortable to use. Of course, it's very expensive. You're trading in high tier ships for an Incheon, right? 26,000 doubloons normally. Very, very pricey. It's kind of why I wanted to also look at more of these mid-tier ships, but I had to include one of these higher tier ones, and this one is very, very good. Now, I gotta be honest with you, it's quite easy to narrow this down to 10. There's a few others that would be interested to be included, of course, from this trade-in event, but 10 was pretty easy to do. I'm trying to now narrow it down to a top 3. I've been sitting here for a while just staring at these ships in my port. It's very, very challenging. Mainz, incredible. Minegumo, unique playstyle, opens up the torpedo playstyle for someone like me who gets frustrated with those lockout radars, carrier games, that kind of thing. Indianapolis, I think, is just kind of busted at tier 7 now. Repairs plus 10-kilometer radars, wild. Atlanta, a classic, but is just so much fun. West Virginia 44, probably one of the best secondary brawlers tier for tier. Sharn 43, probably also up there, but not available in this one. Weimar is just mines at tier 7. Longer reload by a little bit, but tier 7 mines? That ship's already crazy at tier 8. Having these guns at this tier is absolute. What I'm trying to say is there are a lot of great, and I'm not even talking about Incheon yet. At tier 10, the ship is just really, really good as well. Oh man, it's just so different. Okay, I would probably go Minegumo, Mainz, and West Virginia 44. Okay? 1 DD, 1 cruiser, 1 battleship. There you go. Not in any particular order, top 3 there, but oh, it hurts to leave out like Atlanta, especially for me. That hurts. Maybe Atlanta over West Virginia 44, because I could always go coal for. Oh, it's hard. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below what ships you're interested in getting out of this trade-in. What's your favorites from this list? I'd love to know, and perhaps some information for others to take a look at as well. Now you got my takes though, top 10 for this new trade-in event. Well done, Wargaming. A great event, player friendly, allows people to deal with some premiums they may have got out of loot boxes or just have had for a while that they no longer play to trade for something fresh. I think this is one of the best events Wargaming ever does, and I'm so happy to see it back. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.